I'm James Turk. I'm a director of the Gold Money Foundation. And it's my pleasure to be here this afternoon with Marion Mueller, who's the founder of Oroyfinanzas, the first Spanish language gold site providing information about gold and silver as money. Marion, it's a real pleasure to speak with you. I've got a number of things I want to talk about. First of all, let's start with Oroyfinanzas. What was the impetus behind your decision to found your Spanish language website?
Well, what I found, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
James, thank you for inviting me. What we noticed in the year 2003 is that nobody spoke about gold in Spanish. All the information was in English. So I thought it's important because we are 300 million people who speak Spanish.
Yes.
And if you want, gold speaks Spanish because most of the gold comes from Spanish-speaking countries. So I thought it would be important for people to know that.
Yeah. What year did you actually launch Oroyfinanzas?
Where?
Which year?
In 2003.
2003.
Yes.
And what is the website that people can access to get that information?
It's oroyfinanzas.com.
Okay. I wanted to commend you on the wonderful job that you did in the Bundesbank Museum in Frankfurt. We ran these on the videos that you prepared. We ran these also on the Gold Money website. And we got a lot of positive feedback. I personally find that Money Museum at the Bundesbank to be fantastic because it's such an accurate portrayal of the different monetary events that are possible throughout history, looking at German monetary history. What were your impressions of the Monetary Museum in Bundesbank?
Well, the first thing we noticed is that they have a lot of notion about what inflation means. Mm-hmm. Inflation in other countries is not that deep, and they know really in Germany what inflation means.
Having experienced it twice.
Right, and how much it can hurt a country and the purchasing power of people.
Yeah.
And I think they are a lot aware of that, and that's why they have this museum. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, it is absolutely wonderful. And, even if you're too young to have experienced the hyperinflation, any of the hyperinflations that Germany experienced during the 20th century, it's been passed on from generation to generation, from grandparents to parents to, on, and people understand the importance of sound money. But, Germany now is in a situation where it's using the euro rather than the Deutschmark. And the euro seems to be under political control, whereas the Deutschmark was not. Do you agree?
I agree. I think all the money today is under political control. I think we're living maybe the worst times in the whole history of the world. I think not only the euro, the dollar, and I think we're living dismal times. I think we are. This museum in Germany, we should have it all over the world. But the people should know what we all forgot the notion what money is.
Yeah.
And that's very important because, for example, now we have this in Spain. We have this 15M, this revolution,
right.
Street revolution, and it's very curious to notice that people they absolutely forgot what money means.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very important because it's the core of a democracy. If you don't have a good economic financial system and a sound money, there cannot be a democracy.
Yeah, I agree. The way I sort of describe it is that we have to have a level playing field so everyone can participate in economic activity on the same footing. And the role of government is to ensure that we do have this level playing field. But when Should be, exactly. But when government starts meddling with the monetary process, currency tends to be overissued. It will favor those people who understand what's happening to the monetary situation to the disadvantage of the vast majority of the middle class. And as a consequence, you're going to have a population that's become alienated to the existing structure. And I think Spain's not unique in this regard. I think we're seeing this in many different countries around the world.
Absolutely.
But, just to get back to this point that you're making, are people who are expressing this level of discomfort with the existing system, how do you communicate to them that, they have to get a clear understanding of what sound money is all about? Because that's the key, isn't it?
It's funny because I held a speech in the 15M in the first economic forum. It was done in the street. Mm-hmm. And I've been listening to the people, what they were saying, and I wanted to speak, they tell me, okay, you can speak. I began to tell people, you don't have to make the revolution like you're doing it. You have to ask for a new financial system. That would be the revolution.
Yeah.
You know? And talking about the times we were living and talking about Bretton Woods, you know, young people, they didn't know our financial system, it's based on Bretton Woods. They didn't know maybe of Nixon when he unbacked the dollar from gold. And they were really all, you know, applause, a big applause.
Yes.
But after me, it came a professor of economics, a bit leftist, and he was talking about banks should be nationalized. And they were all also applauding. And that, for me, my conclusion was, people are really confused, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's only information. It's a matter of information, because there's no information.
Yeah.
And they don't want us to know.
You know, the economic conditions in Spain are quite bad. You know, the unemployment rate is over 20%.
Yes.
I understand the youth unemployment rate is over 40%.
People under 25, 50%.
50% unemployed.
Yes.
I mean, this can't continue.
No.
It's quite understandable that you get these protests or demonstrations or you know, civil unrest, however you want to describe it. How do you see this playing out in the future?
Bad. Really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. We've been living really, I would say, crazy times, you know. And 4 years ago, you earned 1,000 euros and you got 500,000 for a house. And they told you, well, you have a house, buy a swimming pool too, and have a car, a new car too. And the bank told you that, no? And now these people have mortgages for 500,000. The houses are worth 300,000, and you know, it's going to be hard in Spain. I think 70% of Spanish economy was based on real estate. Something was wrong there, and in this time, and something is wrong now.
Yeah, I know from my travel to Madrid that I find it as one of the most expensive cities in Europe. You know, even compared to Germany, which used to be in my mind the most expensive, although they're both now on the euro. It just to me seems that the price of everything in Madrid is very high.
It's risen. Everything has risen, yes.
Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But isn't that going to cause the Spanish economy to continue to contract if the prices are overvalued relative to the rest of, or too high relative to the rest of Europe?
I think we can't speak of Spain or France or individually or England or whatever. Everything is going to collapse because it's too, everything is in the same, we have all the same problem. Even if politicians, they say in Spain, we're going to do it that way, we're going to do it that way. Brussels is who says 99% of the economic decisions are taken in Brussels, not in Spain. Yes, I think we're going to have tough times. Yeah. Tough times.
Well, that's really not the way it should work. The decision should be made by the free market, by individuals participating on a voluntary basis with one another, to improve their economic standing. But, if you have decisions being made from afar that are not attuned to the peculiar and sensitive situation that you have, it's quite understandable, again, that you're going to have people taking to the streets in protest, particularly given the bad economic climate.
Caro, I think what we all the people who are now, who have notion about what's happening, we are living in a huge monetary crisis, we should all push to have a new monetary system. I think it's what I said before, the core for a democracy. Yeah. If we don't have a sound and clean and transparent monetary system, there's no way for a democracy. And so let's forget the political things and let's fight for and let's speak in favor for a new economic system.
Based on gold at the center of that system because of the discipline that gold imposes on the money process?
Maybe gold could be one of these disciplines, as you say.
Or silver?
Or silver, or hard money, yes,
yeah,
gold or silver. But I think the most important is transparency, and transparency.
Are you seeing traffic on oroyfinanzas.com picking up as a consequence of what's going on around Europe?
Oh, yes, yes. The more the crisis goes on, the more people are interested. I remember when I began talking about gold in 2003, 2004,
Yeah.
they really thought, oh, what a nice lady, but she's a bit gone. What is she talking about?
Yeah.
Bretton Woods, and what is she talking about gold? You know,
Yeah.
what is this? It's not worth, it's...
But people are starting to understand.
But now, yes, the media are taking, not much, but slowly, but they are beginning to look at it as a serious thing, you know, and
Yeah.
they are not asking that much questions, you know, but I think it's coming.
Are you also attracting readership in Latin America?
Yes, quite 60% of our readers come from South America,
Yeah.
especially Argentina.
I was going to say
Mexico.
Argentina now, you have a 25% inflation rate,
Yes.
Or a little bit higher perhaps?
Well, have you heard in Argentina, there was one guy he went to jail because he had the idea to say, no, Argentina has not this inflation, not the official inflation rate, it has much more. So they sent him to jail 1 month ago. So it's a crime to say the real inflation in Argentina. So
That sounds like a dictatorship, not a democracy.
It is.
Yeah, that's
It
quite
is.
scary.
Yes, and well, our readers, what you said, come from Argentina. They know, they have a knowledge about gold and about crisis
Yeah.
a lot. Mexico, Venezuela, Bolivia, Peru,
Yeah.
and Spain.
You know, Argentina is a particularly interesting situation because of all of the currency problems they've had in the past. In 1991, I went to Buenos Aires specifically to study the inflation. You may recall that the currency at the time was called the Austral. And in January of that year, it was officially tied 14 Australs to $1 US. That was the exchange rate. But the government wanted to pump up the economy, so they broke the exchange rate and started creating more and more Australs. I arrived in early May, and the exchange rate was 64 Australs to $1 US. When I left a week later, it was 96 Australs to $1 US. December, it was 10,000 Australs to $1 US. You know, it was a massive hyperinflation of the currency. And the thing that was quite impressive to me, because I was meeting with a variety of different people, including shopkeepers. But when I would meet with the shopkeepers, the clear objective was just to move their inventory and get into a hard currency, either gold or at that time the Deutschmark or the US dollar, because they understood that if the currency collapses, it's going to create economic chaos. And what they wanted to do is to get liquid, preserve their purchasing power, so that the other side of the valley, they could reestablish their shop and buy inventory and participate then in the new economic period. And so I'm sure there are a lot of Argentinians who have in their living memory, that experience from 1991.
And young people, not old people, young people, not like in Europe, no?
Well, they'll learn if there is another hyperinflation.
Also, Mexico has a lot of knowledge of that, and well, in all South America we have a lot of knowledge of what a crisis means.
Yeah, it's quite ironic too that given the fact there's so much gold and silver produced in Latin America, one would think that there'd be a better understanding of the importance of gold and silver in the monetary system.
Yes.
But despite the fact that so much metal, not just recently, but historically, has been produced in Latin America, the lack of appreciation for the importance of gold and silver is sort of shocking, really.
Well, I attend every 2 years, I don't know if you know, the International Symposium del Oro in Peru. It's every 2 years. It's a very important meeting in South America about gold and gold mining. And as you said, what really shocked me, it's a really important symposium, what really shocked me is that nobody in Lima, not in the press, not on the TV, and there were big shots from mining, and Peru lives from mining. 60% of the income comes from mining. They don't have information. I was eating with people and asking them, do you know I'm coming to the gold symposium? And they said, oh, what symposium?
Really? They hadn't even heard of it.
Yes, and that's shocking, no?
Yes.
A country that lives from gold, from silver, from copper, that they don't know. It's like, well, everywhere in the world.
Yeah, that really is amazing.
It is.
Obviously, we need more people reading oroyfinanzas.com.
For sure.
Marion, thank you very much. It's been a
Thank
real
you.
pleasure, and I admire your work. And again, thanks for sharing with us those wonderful videos of the Bundesbank
Thank you
Money
very
Museum.
much.
Thank you.